High-powered rifles, live ammunition and counterfeit products confiscated. Work begins to repair damaged roads. And APEC members get a feel of ples Goroka.
This is the National MTV News with Mary Bertulo.
A very good evening. Thank you for joining us for Wednesday's news. High-powered rifles and live ammunition were confiscated by police last Friday at a shopping center in Goroka. The raid was conducted by Mount Hagen-based mobile squad and Criminal Investigation Division officers. More counterfeit products were also seized. Vasinata Yama files this report from Mount Hagen.
Staffs and management of Sangda supermarket in Goroka town were caught off guard when Mount Hagen mobile squads, CID and the Deputy Eastern End Commander Ben Turi raided the shopping center. Telescope and sniper guns, magnums and live ammunition were confiscated by police and taken to Mount Hagen for further investigation. Counterfeit goods and Chinese imported products in Chinese writings were also confiscated by police. Many of the goods were falsely labeled PNG made. Some of the products were rusted tins of oxen palm and tinned fish, but the expiry dates were labeled 2022 and 2023.
The warehouse was very massive. It got 5 floors, 3 underneath is stacked with the cargoes. Some of the cargoes have been there for sometimes well overdue.
Police also discovered bulk cash in millions of kina stacked in noodles carton boxes inside their office and house. A representative from the Bank of Papua New Guinea was also flown to Goroka to identify the money and establish why they are being kept at home.
Why all keeping kind of bulk cash? Also identify igat sambla or fake money or gaman money or if real money, mila just establishing that so nature belong less la money and stuff.
BPNG analyst Frank Aupa encouraged the Chinese community in Goroka to bank their money. He said almost every year 3 billion kina is wasted on illegal trading and this has to be stopped.
We talk long online Chinese management. Also, cash must flow here. The banking system we have bank can establish in commercial banks where something to transaction must go through the banking system. So cash flow must still circulate around.
Aupa told Sangda management that it is by law for all the businesses in PNG to bank money to keep the cash flow system running. However, Sangda management argued the money was from the weekend takings.
Fine, you can do business, but do it honestly. And don't do good and do better, cheating at the same time. You're welcome to run business in the country, but do not cheat our people with fake goods or outdated goods and then poison our people.
All the materials seized are with the Mount Hagen Police and CID for more investigation. Vasinata Yama, National MTV News, Mount Hagen.
The Department of Works has begun clearing roads damaged by the earthquake. Works Secretary David Were and Minister Michael Nally visited parts of Southern Highlands yesterday to see machines clear debris and other obstacles blocking traffic. Sections along the Nipatari Road were visited, including the Mendi Kandep Road.
With relief yet to reach affected communities in Hela and parts of Southern Highlands, use of roads will be the most convenient and cost-effective solution. However, nearly 60% of roads connecting Southern Highlands, Hela and Enga are severely damaged. The Works Minister and Secretary flew into Mendi yesterday to visit and have direct contact with authorities on the ground. For Southern Highlands Province, roads in Nipa remain a challenge for the Works Department to remove debris blocking traffic. Cracks along the center of the road is evident, with some areas seeing almost half of the road unsafe for use. Works Minister Michael Nally spoke to communities in Nipa to allow smooth flow of work so large quantity of relief supplies from Mount Hagen can pass through.
Me like him by blamas. Let him road him stop free. Me blasali muset contractor come. You me clear him the road area up inside lo this la week. Okay? Please, me asking you blalo, you blamas come all good la man.
The safety of transporting relief to parts of Hela and Southern Highlands also remain a challenge. Authorities in both provinces will be working alongside security personnel to establish safe pass-through of supplies. For the Mendi-Kandeb Road, road contractors have assisted the Works Department to clear blockages. Chinese contractor Kovek was removing debris in Upper Mendi yesterday. Minister Nali says all roads will be cleared before end of this week. Recently, the Works Secretary says the damage is immense. However, the department is doing everything to allow smooth flow of traffic.
Roads at this time, accessibility of roads at this time is very critical in terms of moving fuel and other goods up to the affected sites, and we're giving our priority to ensure that road accessibility is restored.
Attempts to get into Tari yesterday to assess conditions of road by the Works Department was unsuccessful due to bad weather. Clearing of debris will continue for the next couple of days until the road condition is suitable for large trucks to transport relief supplies into Hela and parts of Southern Highlands. Jack Lapave Jr., National MTV News.
The Department of Works is sending 15 heavy equipment machinery to the Highlands to reconstruct damaged roads in disaster-stricken areas. The machines were donated by the Japanese government last year to assist in road maintenance. They will be sent to Enga, Southern Highlands and Hela.
The Works Department has mobilized 15 pieces of machinery inlaid to be sent up to the disaster-struck areas in the Highlands region. The machines include 3 dump trucks, 6 excavators, 3 4-man loaders and 3 bulldozers.
What we are doing is we are just doing the pre-deployment now. That's the first machine on will be shipped up to Mount Hagen and then to the disaster-prone area.
24 of these machines were donated by the Japanese government last year to aid in road maintenance and disaster responses. On Monday, the 26th of February, the Highlands region was struck by an earthquake. Roads were damaged by the earthquake and more than 70 people have been confirmed dead, with reports of missing persons. The machines will be moved up to Mount Hagen from Lae starting today. They will be sent to the earthquake-struck areas in the Southern Highlands province, Hela and Enga, where they will be used to reconstruct damaged roads. Lucy Kopana, National MTV News, Lae.
Meanwhile, Japan is donating 300,000 kina worth of relief supplies. The supplies include 200 tents, 100 water containers and 10 water tanks, together with water purifiers. The Japanese government says it has not forgotten PNG's help when the country was hit by earthquake and a tsunami in 2011.
The relief supplies worth around 300,000 kina arrived today at Jackson's International Airport. Kentaro Sononura, the special advisor to the Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe, delivered the goods.
Relief goods such as tents, sleeping pods and other materials through the JICA to Papua New Guinea. Japan has been working on disaster relief as part of the free and open Indo-Pacific strategy, and this assistance is also part of such overarching efforts.
Mr. Sononura said PNG is a close friend of Japan and Japan hasn't forgotten the assistance received by PNG during the 2011 earthquake and tsunami the country experienced.
When Japan was struck by an unprecedented earthquake and 20,000 lives were lost, the people and the government of PNG kindly provided various forms of assistance. As a long-standing partner, Japan wishes to reciprocate your kindness.
National Disaster Office Director Martin Mose thanked the people of Japan.
And we honor that. And of course, in a little way, with Papua New Guinea, we will try to reciprocate that with you. Those good deeds that you are able to extend to us.
Mr. Moses said the relief supplies will be airlifted out of Port Moresby and should be in Moro, Southern Highlands for redistribution.
We have a transport system that we could be able to have it airlifted onto Moro, which is the forward base. And from Moro it will then be able to be taken to Southern Highlands as well as Hela province.
Japan joins other international donors aiding PNG in this time. Vanuatu government has also pledged 20 million Vatu for relief supplies. Adelaide Siraks Kari, National MTV News.
Students from the University of Technology who originate from the 4 provinces affected by the earthquake collaborated with Women Arise movement in Leh to appeal for assistance. The students started their appeal at the university and also set up a tent at Leh's top town. A walkathon is scheduled for Friday around Leh City, where members of the public can contribute in cash or kind.
Leh's-based Women Rights Movement organization began the 2602 earthquake Leh City Citizens Appeal on Monday. The appeal will continue for a month following requests from members of the public and some business houses. The organization is set up to assist the students from the University of Technology. These students are from the provinces affected by the 7.5 magnitude earthquake on 26 February this year.
And at this point in time, we have to band together as Papua New Guineans and give. In every house, you have extra something that you don't use. It will be useful for our people out there.
Morning, Popondeta has called in and supported the Leh Women Arise and the Unitech students for this move, for the awareness and for the continuation of the appeal.
The students from the 4 provinces affected by the earthquake, Southern Highlands, Ella, Enga and Western, are all working together to support their families back home. The students have called on the members of the public to help support the appeal on Friday.
The Friday event is, we're planning on doing a walkathon, and as much as possible we are planning on covering all of the parts of Leh City. And we're thinking of starting from Ikam and then go around Malang, Kam, and then we're planning as well as to go as far as Najab Airport. So our drive is to help our affected people back at home. Though we are studying here in Leh, we are psychologically affected by what has happened, what has tragically happened, and it has saddened us and it has shocked us.
As we are speaking, some people are dying, not just from the earthquake, but people need food, water, and the medicine. But some delay is happening from the government. The government has sent the 450 million, but because of the delay, people are dying. But right now, we don't need to delay. We need to send it. Send that to the people. And my appeal also to the people from Southern Highlands, Ella, Enga, who are living in the Leh community, to did this, especially the business people.
Residents of Leh can support by donating in kind here at Top Town or in cash to this account number. Julie Badui Oa, National MTV News, Leh.
Prime Minister Peter ONeill has assured the people of Southern Highlands and Hela that donated funds for relief will reach the communities and people affected by the earthquake. Mr. ONeill said for too long, disaster funds have been used to manage the process of relief, with little being put to rebuilding affected communities. He said the government has limited the number of people to manage the relief process, and the focus now is on rebuilding damaged infrastructure. The Prime Minister made these remarks after the China-PNG Friendship Association presented a cheque of 1.3 million kina to the relief efforts yesterday.
Recovery will take a long time. It's going to take a few years, especially the rebuilding of the infrastructure in the many remote communities. Our aim is to try and make sure that the roads and bridges are rebuilt, schools and hospitals are rebuilt, and that is why with the aiding of Dr. Bill Hamblem of our community, we are trying to limit the number of people who are going to manage this process. We have seen in the past where valuable contributions have been used to manage the system and the processes rather than reaching the people that deserve the most. So that is why I can assure you that your support will be certainly put to good use.
Meanwhile, opposition leader Patrick Pruit has called for all Papua New Guineans to work together to support those affected. Speaking to MTV today, he said whilst the national government had done well in moving to establish the Disaster Coordination Centre, what was also needed was a rethink of how the National Disaster Office is funded. It is now into the second week since the disastrous earthquake struck in the country's Highlands region. Today, opposition leader Patrick Pruit spoke to MTV News regarding this disaster. Mr. Pruit said the disaster was unexpected and no one could have predicted the level of damage in affected areas.
This is the time for Papua New Guinea to stand up, to show our fellow citizens that we can as a country pull through after this devastation.
Whilst commending the national government in moving quickly in organising to deal with the effects of the disaster, the opposition called for all Papua New Guineans to work together to support people affected by the quake.
It is a situation where all the country, all citizens of this country must relate to chip in, help wherever possible to ensure that normalcy is restored to those provinces. It is important that every citizen gets to make a contribution to assist our fellow countrymen and women.
According to Mr. Pruit, the role of the National Disaster Office must also be strengthened. He says increasing financial support through several measures could help this crucial organisation conduct its work more efficiently in the future.
I believe that national government should do something to ensure that there is funding available for emergencies like this. Perhaps one of the ways to do it is to try and do a sales tax type situation where any transaction happens, maybe a one-toya surcharge is applied for disaster purposes, and it will help to manage the disaster office and at the same time immediate respond to national calamities like this.
Whilst it is early days yet, there are concerns that the economy of the country may be in for more tough times, especially with the recent announcement that the PNG LNG project would remain shut for about 8 weeks, something which Mr. Pruit says should prompt those in authority to think seriously about revisiting the budget. Mr. Pruit is of the view that unnecessary expenditure, including the various support improvement programs, should be put on hold.
So we need to look at that expenditure and identify our key areas in education, health, infrastructure, and SMEs needs to be supported. The expenditure that you can defer, like the PSIP programs, you can defer to when you are able to afford it, then you can bring it back into the budget.
Here with National MTV News, delegates representing APEC member countries were given a tour of Goroka this week after 2 weeks of intensive meetings. That story and more when we come back. Welcome back to the news. After completing a series of meetings in Port Moresby, the part of the APEC delegation was taken on a tour of Goroka yesterday. The one-day visit was to give APEC members a chance to see firsthand how coffee is grown and manufactured in the country. Most were curious to see what the Eastern Highlands would offer. Others were happy to take a break after 2 weeks of continuous discussions on APEC policies. They all braved the morning rain to catch the flight to Goroka.
Upon arrival in Goroka, the delegates were amazed at how welcoming the locals were. It was the first time for the 16 to come up close to an Eastern Highlands icon, the Asaro Mud Man. And some went straight to taking selfies. From the airport, upon arrival in Goroka, the delegates were amazed at how welcoming the locals were. Sinafe, a coffee grower himself, shared the history of the plantation and highlighted how coffee produces an income for most people in the province.
But we own this place. This place was originally planted by an expatriate some years back.
The team then visited Goroka Roasters and the Goroka Coffee to get an understanding of how coffee beans are dried, grinded, and packed for local consumption or international exports. The final visit was an exhibition of a number of products and produces that contribute to the Eastern Highlands economy. These include bilum weaving, floriculture, and the crafts and local medical herbs. The visit was described by a Chinese delegate as unexpected and overwhelming.
To be here, it's such an amazing experience. It's way exceeding my expectations. It's so beautiful. I know I was excited to come to see the mountains, to see something different, and I didn't expect to have this much cultural experience. And I feel really lucky that I got on this trip, and I feel I learned a lot. And it's beautiful to see the people and the smile on their faces. And I just feel grateful to learn about the culture around here.
Eastern Highlands Governor Peter Nunu was pleased with the turnout of events and thanked locals for giving the visiting delegates an experience of a lifetime.
And with the help of the provincial government as well, and people are so enthusiastic to receive the delegates. And as the head of the province, I'm really proud with my people, their attitude towards the delegates, and so is my team.
Security was well conducted, with 150 police officers taking part in a traffic-controlled situation.
The security arrangements has been so far so good. We haven't encountered anything that will kind of affect the visit. But, the men and women, policemen and women have been deployed to all sections of the town itself.
The delegates returned to Port Moresby with a lot of souvenirs from the Eastern Highlands province. Tekla Gunga, National MTV News.
And people in the small to medium enterprise in the Eastern Highlands were happy with the visit by APEC delegates. Buffy Sita, a Bilum weaver, was glad to showcase some of her projects to the international visitors.
Buffy Sita is a Bilum weaver who comes from Ungaibena district in the Eastern Highlands. She weaves bilums and sells to make money to support the family. In a week, Sita can weave up to 3 bilums of different patterns.
Man come, man Mary come give me order and Mr. Make him now, say Mr. Give me all price for me now. Order price now, so come see. Or come see, kind of say legal number, collatic the bilum is look him now, give me all price now, so buy.
She is one of the 30 weavers who sell bilums in Goroka town. Wilma Kua comes from Chimbu. She works with tour operators, a small company that arranges trips for tourists to significant sites in Papua New Guinea, especially in the Highlands region.
Mount Goroka hiking, Kemas Adventure Walk, and Mount William Tuatu. So, like our international clients time will come in. We don't like all go out. Some time no go out, find him all artifacts, or bring him back in. So inside the office, we play set him all little artifacts. So we play buy him can long on local scanner, we play sell him.
Kua has worked with tour operators for 8 years now. Apart from sightseeing, tour operators buy antique crafts and artifacts from locals and resell them to visitors.
Quality na price blame. So me plus look to solo quality na price. Quality blame good plan na price blame and matching quality blame, so me plus buy him. Then me plus Eddie Macap me plus solo na salim ken.
The exhibition yesterday is in a venue where local producers came out to promote their products and produce. Tekla Gunga, National MTV News.
Both the public and private sector have come on board to support the staging of the first ever National Planning Consultative Summit. The summit will take place from the 20th to the 22nd of this month in Leh. It aims to pursue a range of views from public and private sectors to formulate the Medium-Term Development Plan 2018 to 2022.
National Planning Minister Richard Maru today provided an update on preparations towards the National Planning Summit. So far, Mainland Holdings, LR Group and the National Plantation Management are some organizations that have already indicated their support through a silver level 50,000 kina support. Outcomes from the summit will be used to develop the country's new 4-year medium-term development plan. This plan will look into reviving the agriculture sector in the country and help farmers in the country.
In the past, we've just given it to ordinary villagers who have no idea about running a plantation. The government bought the plantations and simply gave it back to them, basically landowners. And the result is all the plantations have gone bush. So in terms of the locals winning, well, certainly employment is one aspect. The other aspect is they will borrow through the plantation management agency and rehabilitate their own businesses. You see, the plantations are owned by our own people. Somebody will borrow the money with them, manage it, and pay the plantations, and at the same time get the plantations rehabilitated. So everyone will win.
Minister Maru says global experts will be invited to the summit to discuss issues and formulate rehabilitation plans for the agriculture sector.
We basically booked the place, locked the place down, so we're all set to go, the summit. The Morobe governor and his team have confirmed last night they're going to be co-sponsors, as I said. Morobe is extremely proud to host the summit.
Farming plays an integral part in the economy of the country. According to Minister Maru, investing in cocoa, coffee, rice, poultry and dairy production with the help and support from global experts, the country can cut down on imports and start producing its own products for local consumption.
It's poultry, it's eggs. Proteins are a necessity for a healthy and smart population. We need to feed the population with proteins, and proteins need to be accessible. So whether it's on the poultry side or on the dairy side or on the cattle side, it's really important. It's not only as a dietary thing. It's important for the children of PNG. Okay, it's important that we get protein to the children. Right?
Wise says with the launching of the Ilimo dairy products, more milk products will follow. In the country, there are more than 300 farms that needs to be rehabilitated. According to Arthur Jones from National Planning Management Agency, the time is right to focus more on local production and move away from imports.
People want development and want to make money out of growing things, be they potatoes, coffee, cocoa, rice, whatever. They have to behave themselves and make sure that these products can get to market. There are too many middlemen.
The summit is expected to feature speakers from neighbouring countries, including Australia, India, Malaysia, New Zealand. Co-hosted by the Morobe Provincial Government, the National Planning Summit will be held from the 20th to the 22nd of March in Lae. Godwin Eki, National MTV News.
Here with National MTV News, while a series of earthquakes has caused extensive damage to parts of the Highlands as well as Western Province, parts of Central Province have also been affected by another natural disaster. We'll be back with the details after these messages. Welcome back to the news. The health facility that provides medical care to 13 West Mekeo villages has been closed following severe flooding. The closure has affected about 14,000 people who live in the area. Veifa'a Health Center Dr. Cindy Gasso says it is the only health facility in that part of the Central Province that has a certified doctor.
Since its establishment in 1967, Veifa Health Center has been providing much-needed health services to this part of Central Province. It is also a teaching facility for community health workers. Before the flood, the health center infrastructure was really run down. With severe flooding in late January, the situation has worsened. Among areas affected was the facility's main ward, which caters for 40 patients. They had to move patients from the main facility into 2 standalone buildings. Only one has 7 beds.
We plus go out long time in Lumbla, some time. Because access blow school Lumbla na lifeline blow school Lumbla start the road there. Na lo go kam lo slarote time car come and break down sla now. We plus have to go out. Sometimes we plus go most of the time we blow go gata lo kubuna. Collecting more stone slab just lo patching this lo road na. Lo car lo go kam lo kisim supplies Lumbla lo school. Kai as well as fuel and all those, and including the APEC as well. And when that happens now, we also help, help us now. The other places, the big villages, IPN and Veifa as well, they access the roads where people sumatin and people help lo fix him up.
Dr. Gasso says they breached infection control measures because the patient's ablution blocks overflowed into the health facility. Male nurse Michael Howe described the situation to be very unhygienic, despite their efforts in helping patients.
And from the community, sometimes there's participation, most of the times there's not. And in election times, someone just comes and fixes the road just to give a vote probably, and then after that the road is forgotten. And now it's the second time the flood came up, and this was at its worst, and we've struggled a lot.
Currently, the health center is closed. It will remain closed until it is authorized to open by the National Health Department. Dr. Gasso says it cannot go back to full services because they are catering for all kinds of diseases, which places patients and health workers at risk. Worryingly, with the closure of Veifa Health Center, about 14,000 people now do not have access to health services.
Loads, and they can walk 4 to showers just to go well in a wheel, access in transport go across. So, if me can straighten this road, or suppose man go past where Mariam stops, and them can help to fix him up this road so na life would na reduce him cost, beden lo line lo can lo go come good, experience him life much better than the narap lo line will start to.
Lilian Sopera Kinea, National MTV News.
Despite some challenges, Bank South Pacific managed to record a consolidated profit after tax for the year ending 31st December 2017. In a presentation to shareholders today, BSP Group CEO Robin Fleming gave an overview of the results as well as an insight into what the bank expects this year. BSP Group Chief Executive Officer Robin Fleming provided an overview of the bank's performance in 2017. Among the highlights, the bank recorded a total income of 1.99 billion kina, up 11.5% from the previous year. Total assets increased by 7.4% to 22.4 billion kina, and a net profit after tax of 757 million kina, up 17.6% from 2016. Much of these positive results were driven by an increase in revenue, this due to growth within the bank's interest income streams, particularly from its loans and advances. Its loan book saw significant growth by around 11%. In 2017, loans and advances to customers grew to 10.1 billion kina. Addressing today's presentation, Mr. Fleming believes that there is still room for further growth within middle-income earners.
But certainly, our targets are always ambitious. We realise that as the #1 bank in PNG, it's not just the profit objective, it's ensuring that we're able to provide the services, don't disregard the PNG population as we continue our expansion, make sure that our delivery of basic financial services, basic financial transactions keeps pace with the economy.
Looking forward, BSP has also entered the life insurance business, with the bank recently receiving a license from the Bank of PNG. According to Mr. Fleming, there is opportunity for growth within this sector.
One of the key reasons why BSP made a strategic decision to enter PNG. Our life business in Fiji is the largest life business in PNG. Therefore, we do have considerable experience in that particular business. A key component of the life business in Fiji is very much that endowment product.
Here with National MTV News, we'll have some sporting updates in Trukai Sports when we come back. Don't go away.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome to Trukai Sports. We begin with boxing, and round 2 of the PNG Amateur Boxing Union Stage Inter-Club competition will again see top amateur fighters assemble in the ring tonight at the Lamana Hotel. Fighters from 4 boxing clubs in the Central Province, including NCD, will do battle to make the final squad that will face the international fighters from Australia and Fiji this Saturday.
Backing up from last week's showdown of the amateur boxing action, tonight will feature a new bunch of fighters from the 4 contesting club associations, with a lot more action expected. After tonight's bout, 10 fighters will be selected to represent the PNG Amateur Boxing Union to face off with the New South Wales and Fiji amateur boxers in the prestigious TPA Kokoda Challenge Boxing Fight Night at Lamana this Saturday.
It'll be good for our boys because it's international meets are far and few, and for them to come and show and fight, and it's going to be an international bout, so it'll be good for our boys to learn something out of them. And with the experience of boxers from Australia, I'm pretty sure that our boys can be able to learn something. And also for our Commonwealth Games team, they need to fight before they go, because they probably meet the same guys at the Commonwealth Games.
The competition, dubbed as Wednesday Fight Night, has gained momentum and has brought out some of the best amateur fighters in the country onto the center stage.
Our national team is trained at, in Baguio, High Performance Training Center in Philippines, the Commonwealth Games team. And our main purpose is to give our Commonwealth Games team a challenge, the challenge match before they go to the Commonwealth Games, which is next month, after next month, sorry.
The final showdown of the amateur inter-club competition bouts gets underway tonight at 7 p.m. at the Lamana Gold Club Arena. Shane Saroya, National MTB Sports.
Still in boxing, the Kokoda Boxing Challenge has secured support from the Papua New Guinea Tourism Promotion Authority. PNG TPA today announced its support for the event through a sponsorship package of 20,000 kina. The Kokoda Challenge will showcase PNG's finest, taking on Fiji and Australia.
TPA for
PNG Tourism Promotion Authority today announced their support for the upcoming Kokoda Challenge through a sponsorship of 20,000 kina. This funding support will now allow PNG Boxing Union to host the Kokoda Boxing Challenge. This Saturday, 4 of PNG's Commonwealth Games representative boxers will take on their Fijian and Australian counterparts. PNG TPA CEO Jerry Agus confirmed the authority's support for the Kokoda Challenge, adding that it would also promote sports tourism in the country. He says by associating this challenge with Kokoda also showcases the country's cultures and traditions.
How we got involved in this competition was simply because they are playing for Kokoda Cup. As you all know, Kokoda is an iconic tourism product for Papua New Guinea, so we spend a lot of resources and we do a lot of marketing campaigns around Kokoda, because a lot of the tourists that we get from Australia and New Zealand market come to Papua New Guinea to track Kokoda.
This support is in addition to other sporting events that the PNG TPA has supported.
It's good to come up with specific programs or activities that bring not only foreigners but even our domestic tourism as well. China's domestic tourism is huge, so that's why you see a lot of income generated by tourism.
PNG Boxing Union President John Avira thanked PNG TPA for their support.
boxing is a big history in PNG, and we are very thankful again for you that you've chosen our sport, and also I'm sure you're involved in other sports that we can promote tourism, bringing people into this country and spending their dollars in PNG.
Avira adds that PNG has selected its best fighters who have all proven their worth.
Insofar as the tournament on Saturday, it is one of our premier events that we're looking forward for this weekend on Saturday. We are inviting New South Wales team, or we've invited New South Wales team to come and compete with our Commonwealth Games team. We're currently training in Manila. They'll be arriving tomorrow. They've been in intensive training for this tournament.
The 4 PNG fighters, Thaddeus Katua, Charlie Keama, John Ume and Laizani Soma, will arrive tomorrow from Philippines in preparations for Saturday's event. Following the Kokoda Challenge, the PNG boxers will travel to Canberra for 2 weeks of intensive training. Godwin Eki, National MTB Sports.
To golf now, and the Royal Port Moresby Golf Club will play host to the 2018 Amateur Golf Tournament. The tournament will be held during the Easter weekend from March the 30th to the 2nd of April.
The annual event will see amateur golfers around Papua New Guinea compete. The tournament has been running for the past few years, with the interest in participating growing every year. Over 100 players are expected to take part at the tournament.
We have a couple of entries from Australia as well, and I hear there's an entry coming from New Zealand as well. So it's not just for Papua New Guinean golfers, it's good for the international amateurs to also come and have a game here.
It will be a fun-filled weekend with children also taking part in the 4-day tournament. The tournament is the pinnacle of the amateur season.
This is our 3rd year in the last 6, I think it is, so we enjoy it, and it's it's wonderful to see all the new golfers and especially the kids coming through. That's I think the most enjoyable part. The junior programs around the country are fantastic, and golf in PNG is looking amazingly bright. Especially with the kids coming through.
Today, Inspec Limited presented a cheque of 15,000 kina to support the tournament. Inspec Chief Executive Officer Ian Balfour says they are happy to support golf and help upcoming golfers in the country.
We leaders in the community, and Inspec's very happy to be able to support people that are prepared to practice hard, to challenge themselves, to go into challenging environments and to improve themselves, and that's really why we're a major sponsor for it, yes.
Inspec has sponsored different golf tournaments over the years and are proud to be supporting golf in PNG.
We're happy to support that again because we get a lot of Papua New Guineans come out and watch the golf, and especially the young ones who see what golf is about and become keen on getting into golf. And so it's not only picking them up at the young age when they're coming through in the amateur, it's also into the Golf Open itself, the professional side.
Elijah Levet, National MTB Sports.
And we'll have more of Trukai Sports after these messages. Stay tuned.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome back to Trukai Sports. To Rugby League now, SPPNG Hunters captain Ase Boas is ready for this weekend's round 1 clash against the Ipswich Jets. He has been cleared by the doctors to play and will be in his favourite role, 5/8.
Rugby League World Cup last year. Since then, he has suffered from a wrist injury. He was not able to play in the trial match against the Brisbane Broncos, but is looking forward to their first match this weekend.
I played with this fracture thumb, so I have to push through until the World Cup. So I think I sit out for the trial this year. It's because they don't want to risk me, it's just a trial. So yeah, I'm looking forward for the first game. I just took out the cast yesterday, so yeah, I'm looking forward for this first game for the season.
Ase says he is looking forward to playing with the new boys in the team.
Half of the squad are new boys, but they really fit in well. With the experienced boys, during training we talk to them and try to get them familiar with what the team stuff we do here. So yeah, they really fit well, and yeah, the team is looking good for the season.
Boas will be leading the team again this year and says though it will be difficult, they hope to defend the premiership and win back-to-back titles.
I think it will be a tough year for us. We're looking forward for the back-to-back premiership, but it comes with hard work again this year. So coach used to encourage us to do little things right in order to get there. So we still have a long season and just the first game around the corner. So
the SPPNG Hunters will take on the Ipswich Jets this Sunday at the National Football Stadium. Elijah Levet, National MTB Sports.
To football, and Rooks Marines has continued its support for Madang Soccer Association to host its pre-season tournament this Saturday with a 3,000 kina cash sponsorship. The winners in the men's, women's and under-16 division will each walk away with 1,000 kina. The 3rd and 4th places will also win prizes courtesy of Sigma Construction. Registration per team is set at 100 kina. President-elect Sigrid Bechel says the teams will be placed in pools with the top teams progressing to the eliminations and eventually to the finals. And that's it for Trukai Sports. We go for a break. When we come back, the weather details for Thursday. Stay tuned.
Trukai Sports. Trukai Sports.
The weather details were proudly brought to you by Dulux, celebrating 50 years in PNG and the only paint made in PNG.
A look at the weather forecast for the next 24 hours. We begin in the southern region. Rain and showers expected in Port Moresby, Daro and Kerma with a top of 29 degrees. 31 degrees in Alatam with some showers. 30 degrees in Popondetta with rain and showers over the next 24 hours. To the Momase region, rain expected in Vanamu with a top of 29, the same as well in Wewak. Madang, Wau and Lake can also expect a few rain and showers over the next 24 hours with a top temperature of 29 degrees. To the New Guinea Islands region, rain and showers expected in Loranga with a top of 28, a top of 29 and showers and thunderstorms expected in Kavieng, Kokopo and Rabaul. Some rain expected in Kimbe with a top of 29, 30 degrees and a few showers for Buka. And in the Highlands region, Mount Hagen, Goroka, Kundiawa, Mendi and Wabeg, all these major centers can expect rain and showers over the next 24 hours.
Details were proudly brought to you by Dulux, celebrating 50 years in PNG and the only paint made in PNG.
And that's the news, sport and weather for today, Wednesday, the 7th of March 2018. On behalf of the MTV News team, pleasant viewing. Good night.